Kumlan about Gemara. Friday. Today's daf is daf Beis Amar Aleph Masechta Sotah. So Masechta Sotah was that a woman was warned. There's three stages. There's kinui. There's two stages. There's kinui, which means a warning, and then stira, the warning. The husband says he's suspicious that there's something going, some dalliance going on between his wife and somebody else. So he warns her, and then she has stira. She spends some time alone with him, talking. We don't know exactly what they did, but they were there long enough that something could have happened all right, untoward, and that's called stira. And we're going to have, and then the dinner is that they cannot live together anymore until she drinks the water to sort out one way or another. And this is to bring shalom bayis, because the whole time he's walking around with that nagging suspicion that something happened. There's no way that they're going to live happily together. This way you have to bring it to an head. And the only way to bring it to a head, closure, this is how you bring closure. We know today in the world that without closure, people can suffer for years and years and years. So that's what closure is. The argument is, we need two witnesses for kinui. Do we need two witnesses for stira? Do we need two witnesses for both? How does it work? Says the Mishnah. Hamakani, if somebody warns his wife, now the Gemara is going to say the fact that it says Hamakani in past tense, or if he did it, means that our Mishnah holds it's forbidden to do this. Even though in the Gemara we're going to have in the next block, we're going to have that there's machlekes abishmor b'kiva whether you're allowed to, whether you can, but no, you must. But our Mishnah definitely holds you're not allowed to, but we don't pass on the Mishnah, we pass on the Brisa, which everybody wonders why, because we have a rule, the Mishnah always takes precedence over Brisa. Anyway, Mekan Elisha, Rabbi Lezer says, Mekan Labishnaim, when you give the warning to initiate the whole thing, you need two witnesses. But once you gave the warning, and then she was still, even a single witness comes along and says, or even up he himself saw them alone in solitude, that's enough grounds that they have to drink. They have to drink. They're not live together anymore. If he's a kohen, she can't have a truma, and if they divorce eventually, she's not allowed to live with the person, the accused. Rabbi Shimon says, I hold no. He says, Mikana Pishnaim and Mashka Pishnaim. You need two witnesses for both. Kate Mikana, what exactly do you do when you warn her? The word kini itself, we'll see more later what it means. Kate Mikana, he said for two people, please, I don't want you to talk to that particular person. He has to nominate a person. And then she went ahead and defied his wishes, and she spoke to him in solitude. Just spoke to him in public, a dining with basis. Nothing happened. Public. They live with him. She's like truma. If they went along somewhere alone in solitude, they were alone long enough to do another Eidah. Asura lebesa, they are forbidden. They're not allowed to eat. She's not allowed to eat truma anymore. She's not allowed to live back with her husband until they drink. He makes, and if he dies, she cannot live with her brother-in-law because maybe she committed adultery. She can live, and on the other hand, she cannot live with anybody else because maybe she didn't. So chayletz is v'loy misyabem. We go chalitza and then people. Says the Gemara Mechi. Let's understand. Tonim and Nazir Solik. Our Tana just finished Masechta Nazir. My Tana the Katana Sotah. How to say to follow Nazir? So the Gemara Kid Rebbe, like Rebbe said, the Tanya we learned. Rebbe said, "Loman this Pasha Nazir the Pasha Sotah. Why is Nazir right after Pasha Sotah in the Torah and Pasha Nazir? Let me tell you, Kalaroi Sotah we call it. If you witness a Sotah being humiliated in public, everything is Docha Pratis must be that Yazir Atzim in the What led her to behave this way? The fact that she was a bit, with some levity over there, and she's inebriated. So therefore, you should abstain from drinking wine." So the mother said, let's follow the order in the Torah. The listener Sotah, the hard listener another. So first there should be Masechta Sotah, and then there should be Masechta Nazir. Says the mother, I did the ton of ksubas. Seventh page of ksubas is the ton of Amadi. It says Amadi. Some people actually have Amadi, the end of ksubas for that reason. Ton of the Dorim. Therefore the Dorim follows Amadi. But I did a ton of Dorim, ton of Nazir, because the Dorim learn Nazir. Because in that passage it says, never Nazir lahazir Lashem. So the Dorim and the Nazir are related. The Dorim and Dorim. And then Tani Sotah, then we learn Sotah, like Rabbi said, that there's a connection between the two. In Yerushalmi, actually, they have the order totally reversed, and the Rambam actually has the order totally reversed. That Nazir is after Sotah. In fact, Nazir is after Gittin. Nazir is after Gittin, and there's a whole discussion. Think about it. The evidence our Tana holds that we don't want you to go more on your wife. Our Tana holds also the concept. It's forbidden. It's forbidden. Shlokish was extremely proficient in Agadah. When he started Masechta Sotah, he always gave introduction. This is what he would say. We always say that you're marrying a bashert. He says, no, you're not marrying a bashert. You marry someone that you deserve. If you're a tzaddik, you'll marry a tzaddik, a Rosh. And then it says, you won't find that a Rosh will end up in the lot of tzaddikim. And Rabbi Yochanan adds The caution, the Zav going to Kriyas Yamsuf, mating a couple is as difficult as Kriyas Yamsuf. Remember it says, Elokim Moshe Yichidim Beis. So the way Rashi learns that Hashem puts individuals in their home. You know, he's a single man, a single woman. Moitzi Asidim, he takes out prisoners, big Kaishar Rice. He takes out the Kusharis, which is what? Which is talking about the Yetzias Mitzrayim, because we left in the month of spring. And therefore we compare it to Yetzias Mitzrayim. So now the Rishonim ask, so why compare to if Yetzias Mitzrayim, there were 10 Makkahs, there were so many other events. Why Dafka Kriyas Yamsuf? So we say, one of the Rishonim say, because Shados is Bechi V'Shedus, that one person is crying and one person is happy. As we'll soon see what that means. One person is crying, one person is happy. And we'll get back to that soon. It's not so. So you're telling me it's not Bashert, you get what you deserve. It's not so. 40 days before a person was born, before a person was born, is already the designated who's going to end up where. So, and at that stage, we don't know if you're going to be a tzaddik or a rosh. I have no idea. And Teja says it's always before the boy. It doesn't matter if the girl's older than the boy, younger than the boy. It's always before the boy that they say, okay, you're going to be end up with this woman. Now, even though everything is predestined, but when it comes to rosh, chacham, tipish, osher, oni is all predestined. But the tzaddik with rosh like kama, famous word chedush yidim. How do you know that you can be a tzaddik and be an idiot? Because it says clearly, the Eibusha doesn't. The Eibusha knows if you're a chacham or a tipish. But tzaddik with rosh like kama. I mean, you can be a tipish and be a tzaddik. So just because the person tzaddik says the chedush yidim, don't think that he has to be smart. But what do you call it? So the question is, since there's not, since it's Basher, we have no idea. What do you mean if you ma'aser? How do we know? Well, how are you going to turn out? Also, by playing the plane, as everything is we decide who's going to get the house, so the plane, who's going to get end of this field. That person's field eventually has to move over to yours. Like Kasha, the first zivuk is Basher, and the second zivuk is what you deserve. The second zivuk is what you deserve. The taste and the chance over here brings from Rabbeinu Tam an amazing thing. He said he brings over here. Said why Kriyas Yamsuf Bechi V'Shedus. He said it was the Mitzim were crying, and the Yidden were happy. Since the second zivuk, we're talking about the second zivuk is when Lufi Ma'aser. So the first zivuk is unhappy because she was the or whatever it is, and the second zivuk is happy. But then Rabbeinu Tam says, an extraordinary thing. He says, sorry, some of the other Rishonim say, Rishon and Sheni doesn't mean first zivuk or second zivuk. You can have the second zivuk, that's your Rishon. He said every neshama is made up of a zachar and a kever. Everyone is made up of thing is made up of a zachar and a kever. Every neshama is a zachar and a kever. And he says, therefore, what happens if the guy married the wrong woman? So he married a zivuk sheni, because the zivuk rishon means a basher. Basher doesn't have to be necessarily for a zivuk. In other words, the machlek is Rashi and these are showing him out. According to Rashi, the first zivuk is always a basher. The second one is you have to earn it. According to Tesis, it doesn't matter who your first and second zivuk is. The second one might be your basher because you jumped in ahead and married somebody else. Doesn't mean automatically that's your basher. But maybe it isn't your basher because it didn't work out. So obviously your basher is the second. So that is the argument here. Anyway, let's continue about it. Now this one you have to help a couple of bit. They're only arguing the kina v'stira. There's 3 stages actually. It's not 3 stages. There's kina warning, stira they were alone in solitude, and then the thing called tumah. If we have witnesses that after the warning, when she was alone with this person, she actually had a relationship, then there's no drinking. It's over. You're not live together anymore. It's over. How many witnesses do you need to say that by tumah I saw my own eyes that they had an affair? So here it seems the Mishnah only kini v'stira. Rabbi Lezer says kini needs 2 and stira does not. Bishur says he needs 2 by both, but no one says by tumah you need 2. By tumah is enough 1. Why? Because it's grounds to believe the single. It's grounds because he was a warning and obviously there was something going on here. So the Gemara but tumah, when it comes to tumah, even the single legs believe. But we also learned if one eight said I need to eat ish and mas, if one eight comes along and says I showed my own eyes, you're having an affair. So the Mishnah, you don't drink. Says about how do you know that not drinking means this is Mahatoida? Because in the Mishkan or the base Midrash you have to drink. So it means how do you know that a single witness doesn't believe? Because generally you always need two witnesses. How do you know over here you believe two witnesses? The Gemara says how couples. The Tanabon and we learned it says in Pasuk when it talks about it here that she had a relationship with somebody and the husband was not aware of it and she was a seclusion and she became Tame. The aid ain't bar and there was no aid. Now, if you take a literal translation, means there was not even a single witness. Then it says the healer needs fuss and she wasn't forced into it. When by adding the word she wasn't forced into it, what are you trying to say? And therefore that's grounds to answer her. So when it says the aid ain't bar, we're answering her. But if there's no witness at all, what do you mean you're answering her? So we're going to say the aid ain't bar means there were no two witnesses here, but there was one witness. And that's why the healer needs fuss. If she wasn't coerced, she could no longer be the husband. She was raped, is different, but if she was not coerced, she could no longer be the husband. Says the says the Eidin Ba must be Mishnayim, my cousin would die, but there were no two witnesses, but one witness there was. And the Gemara later I was going to ask, it's obvious there was one witness, otherwise why ask her? But at this stage we don't know that. So how do you know? Maybe there was not even one witness. And the Gemara's going to ask later, if there's no one witness, then what do you try and tell me? How can even she think she's us? But right now, let's just take the way it's written. We have a general rule. It says, a single person cannot testify against a person. Why do you have to add the word echad? You just say aid. We know it means a single person. Zaraya, that aid itself means a group, a pair of witnesses. It has to add the word echad to make it one. So aid means two. So when the Torah says that aid ain't ba, it means that there were no two witnesses who saw her have this dalliance, who saw her have an affair, but there was one witness. So that's how we know that one witness, single witness, once there were grounds, we believe. So and either don't know echad, it's one. I say one. This teaches us aid. How do you count? Whenever it says aid, there are two. It clearly delineates one. But today, there were no two people there. One. So it says in the pasuk that he learned it first, so she wasn't coerced, and therefore that's grounds to make her us. Yeah, and only one, and therefore she's us. Says the Gemara, I don't understand. You're telling me the only way that we know the pasuk is telling you there was one is because the word the aid means two. So there wasn't two, but there's one. Forget that. Says the Gemara. The very fact that the pasuk is trying to say that she is forbidden to her husband, obviously there had to be a witness there. Otherwise, what's he talking about? That's the only reason. I would have thought aid the chadu one, and then what? And the Torah said the eight ain't bad. There was nobody there. I feel like there wasn't even there. One to be there, but my mitzvah. Why should be us? So what? I understand what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing. He said, but what do you have to introduce something, an outside raya, to prove that aid here means two, and if there's no two, but there's one. Forget that. When it says aid, but obviously here it must be two. If there's nobody there, then there's nothing to ask. So no. I would have thought aid ain't ba means ain neman ba. That what? That the single with forget. That a single witness is not, we would have thought aid and ba ain't neman ba. Now what? That there was a single witness there, but he's not believed. Ain't neman ba my boy. If a single witness is not, in other words, when the Torah says the aid ain't ba means that if there's only one aid there, we're not going to believe. But if there are two, then she'll be us. So what are you trying to tell me? The pasuk is trying to tell you there was not a single witness there because a single witness would not believe. But if there were two, then and she wasn't forced, she is awesome. Why say that? If they would have said nothing, I would have known that anyway. If the Torah said nothing and you had two witnesses came in and said that she committed adultery, that's it. But if that's what the Torah is trying to tell you, we need two witnesses. Don't say anything. And the Asher, we know we have a rule. We had them getting gitten. We'll have davar memaman. And it says apishnaim eidim yakum davar, and it says that if you find an ever davar by a woman, so you put davar together, and you have two witnesses. And I would then automatically know. I call araya shebetayra or call eidish betayra version. Whenever they're all witnesses of Torah, you need two people. One in the passing the aid ain't bar. They tell me a single person I believe. Well, why should you? Of course you don't believe a single person. You need two people. I don't need passing. No. It's the Torah needs to tell you that over here the aid ain't bar. If without the extra passing aid echad, I would say that the aid means a single witness, and the Torah is telling you the aid ain't bar that a single witness does not believe. But only two witnesses. And why do you need to tell me that? Because here I would have thought as an exception, I would believe a single witness because the husband already warned her. There are grounds to believe that something is not right here. And then comes along a single person and said, oh, I saw them have an affair. Then maybe you would believe him. I would have thought, Sotah shine is so different than I go, there's some grounds to it. Shadikinali warned her, and she's alone. So I would have thought these Hamabei Echad, we should believe even a single witness there. And that's why the Torah says Eidein Ba. So if I wouldn't have introduced this other pasuk of Eid Echad, I could have learned the pasuk totally different. The outcome would be that a single witness would not be believed. Says the Gemara, how can you even tell me that what? The Torah is saying the Eidein Ba. That a single witness is not believed, and you need two witnesses, but saying not believe. But the next three words of the Torah are, and therefore what he's saying, B'shai, you should believe. The next three words are, he learned it first, so she wasn't forced, as if to say, and she's usher. And you're telling me this is reason to say that she's mutter. You're saying the Eidein Ba means that there's only one single witness. There's not two witnesses. They're saying a single witness and not believed. So what's the relevance? He learned it first. The Hamlik Sivi, he learned it first. So the fact that the Torah said and she wasn't coerced, Miklau, that's Sotah, she's forbidden. Like, no, I mean, I would have thought, no, the reason I would have learned Pshat in the Pasuk, it's not for me introducing a Echad, I would look at this. A single witness is not believed, only two witnesses. But even two witnesses, if she wasn't for, I would have thought, I would have thought, I believe, the Ika today, until the two witnesses, and with even two, the line need for. So I would push the shot that the Torah say one witness is not believed, but if two believe, provided we learn it for. So what would be the outcome if you learned that way? That a single witness would not establish that she is tamei, should be mutter. Kamashalon. That's why we have to bring this other pasuk of the 8 echad that no, when it says that 8 on its own means 2. The 8 ain't means there were no two witnesses, only one witness, and one witness enough to be matamei. Further, Rabbi Shua said, everyone agrees that Kinui needs two. The question is, according in our mission, the question is whether when they're in seclusion, you also need two. My time to Shua, what's the logic of Shua? Amakra, it says in Pasuk that she was committing adultery, and says the aid ain't ba. There was no witness there, so we teach ba the lay bikina ba. When do we say that a single witness is good enough? Only by tumah. But it's not good enough when it comes to any of the other stages. Not when it comes to warning, and not when it comes to seclusion. That's what Yeshua holds. You need both two witnesses. But Abelezer, what's Abelezer? He holds all you need by warning too, not by when it comes to seclusion. Ba means only in the stage of warning that you need two. Tuma, one is enough, but warning two. But not when it comes to stira, one is enough as well. The aim of bubble of stira. Maybe if you only come to exclude one thing, how do you know to exclude the warning that you need two? Maybe warning is enough one, and the seclusion you need two. No, you stira ishkila tuma. We're going to equate stira to tuma. Because the pasuk says the words are v'nistra v'hinitma. Sounds like that stira and tuma have the same status. That what one is enough. It's only the warning then. Ba v'lay b'kinim. Kinyan have another pasuk where Kinyan and Tumah are together in one phrase. Because it says in the pasuk there, the Kinyan Ishta, he warned his wife, the Hinidma. Says it together as well. What can I do? I have a ribui of that, but I have a samir. I have to exclude something, so I'll exclude warning. Why you decide to exclude warning needs two and stira needs one? Maybe the other way around. Mistabra, it makes sense. Stira differ that stira is more grounds to it. Shekain Isarta that stira is better. Shekain Isarta Kitum. That since stira is better, that would should be machmir, that even one is enough because it's the stage, it's the final stage. This is what makes her usher to her husband. The kidney does not make her usher to her husband. The stira does. So therefore, we machmir that even one can do that. So that started the whole thing. If she would have been alone with this person and he never warned her, nothing would have happened. So if the question is it the Gemara or is it the Tchila that deserves? That's the primary part of the Veda, the principal part of the Veda. Yeah, if it wouldn't be a stira, that warning means nothing. No, we love kid stira mahani, and if they warn you without stira, does nothing. I feel stira different as chalted to me. Still, we hold that this is the ikir because that's the beginning of tumah. This is the completion. This is what makes it happen. So Gemara said Masnis and our Mishnah that holds everyone holds Chinese too, and the machlekes is the stira actually does not agree with the following Tana. The loike Tana. The following Tana. Let me learn. If somebody warns his wife, a kinui you can do with one person, or even yourself. But the second stage, you need two people. Exactly the opposite of our mission. Answer back to the point of Rabbi Yisrael, there's no end to it. What do you mean no end to it? The Gemara will explain in a minute. First of all, Mike Timer, why does he hold that kinui is not so, that kinui even one is enough to initiate the whole thing? What's the logic? as if this is more chomer. Same thing with the same discussion before, but he'll hold the opposite svara that the initiator is harsher than the completion, and therefore even one is started. Bob the bestira. What Bob that here you need two, but stira. Sorry, here what tum is enough one, but stira you need two. The aim above the maybe warning you need two. Kina is tumah. Kina we compared to tumah. See, Kina says we need more. So the pasuk he warned her and she became tummy. No still na mishkel tumah. Still also is compared to tumah. The see minister he need more. Says that there was a street and they become tummy. Whole the kama sheer still. No, that pasuk is how long should they be in seclusion before we say that there's grounds to be concerned? Long enough could they tumah that something could have happened between them, and we'll see the more in a few days from now how much time that is. Not a very long time. Who does it? Hey, Shivu Chacham Rebbe. What is the answer? According to Rebbe, the ain't the site. There's no end. What do you mean no end? Mind you. What do you mean no end? Very simple. Zim in the Laikani. If let's say there were two witnesses that if she was talking to this guy, if he never warned her, she had no idea not allowed to talk to this guy. And they're talking business, whatever they're talking about, she had no idea. So she can't protect herself. And then if he ever gets in a fight with her, he'll come up with a story. I warned you last week, and now have two witnesses there. Goodbye. The Zimin, the Laikani, sometimes he didn't. No, because he's in a fit of anger, and because he's in a fit of anger, he's going to make up a story. In the other way around, when he warned in the first place, it was a deliberate action. There was no anger there. He came along, warned, don't be that person there. So then there's less chance that he makes up a story of stira. But the other way around, if she's walking around talking to everybody, whatever, that's a normal behavior, and he's in a fit of anger, in a fit of rage, he can come up with a story and ruin her life. What's the difference? You're right. I can say also according to Rabbi Yosef Yehuda, there's no end. After Rabbi Yosef Yehuda, in our Mishnah, Ika. Hasam leka Ika. Our Mishnah is the Ika thing, so therefore our Mishnah is not worse. He did it calmly and everything else, so therefore it's not. There is a side because generally you don't have to worry. His case is much. The Chachamim were arguing. You're making life so unbearable. In his case, is much worse. And our Mishnah also is a problem because sometimes you get angry and it'll say, "Oh, you were alone with this person." That's not true. Today, a person should not ever warn his wife about how to play. Today, you should never ever say that. Why? Because if the halacha like that you yourself can give a warning, you don't need witnesses. And if you ever get angry and you see alone that person, you can bring to Adam, make up a story that you warned her, and bring to Adam and ruin her life. And there's no water today to bring shalom bayis. You can do it on your own. And she doesn't know to be careful. The leka either may say to the we don't have any way of resolving this. And then they'll be forbidden to each other forever. And she also be forbidden to the person that she's talking to. Ma loshen kini. What does the word kini mean? What's the origin of the word kini? Dover hamatel kina, something that brings anger between her and the rest of the world. Not between her and the husband, but between her and the rest of the world. How? Alma Kasavat, he holds, Kina al Piazza, because the husband himself could warn her, nobody knows that he warned her, and suddenly they see that she doesn't talk to me anymore. Why does she should be so friendly now? She doesn't say hello, nothing. So they're going to get angry with her. So he drove a wedge between her and the rest of the world. That's the word Kina. And no one else knows that he ever warned her. What's going on here? The kabbalah. She suddenly became a pariah. Suddenly they don't like her anymore. And so he created a wedge between her and the rest of the world. I agree with you. The word kina is anger, but the wedge is between him and her. Why? Because Alma he holds he holds you need two witnesses, and two witnesses spread the word. Everyone knows. You know what's going on with it. The husband said everybody gossips. But Kuli Alma Yada, everyone knows the Kani law. Everyone knows that the husband warned her. The Ihu the Asil Mever Kina Bahada. But now he is basically controlling her life, and he causes a break away between him and her. Alma Kasabri holds the Asil Lekanis. So you see from here that what he holds that you're not allowed. So both of them hold you're not allowed to do it because it's anger. It's not a good thing. Not like our Mishnah it says it's not a good thing to do it. But the opinion says you're allowed to warn at home. In fact, we'll see there's a mitzvah according to some. What's the word kini mean then? Kini means pasha to warn. We find the pasuk that by Yael it says that the locals are coming and he warned them. Okay, we'll stop over